Hello, and welcome to another episode of In My Experience with yours truly, Christine DeGinto. This podcast is a space where I speak from lived experience. The moments that shaped me, challenged me, and changed the way that I understand myself in the world. The awakenings, the breakdowns, the moments that cracked me open, asked me to stay present, be embodied, and be honest with myself. I share my stories not to persuade or define truth for anyone else, but to offer perspective, to explore the gray areas we don't often have language for, to slow things down and listen more closely to what's happening beneath the surface. You'll hear solo episodes where I reflect on my own initiations, spiritual gifts, and the systems that tried to define me. And conversations with guests who have walked strange, beautiful, and sometimes painful paths of their own and come back with wisdom to share with us. I invite you to take what resonates, leave the rest, and trust your own experience as valid. Thank you for being here. This is In My Experience. Welcome to the very first episode of In My Experience. I want to start by sharing something a little different and very close to my heart. What you're about to hear in this episode is a recording of a soul purpose reading that was done by Amy Belair. Amy has been my mentor for over 4 years now, and I recommend her work wholeheartedly. I've grown alongside her guidance, her precision, and her ability to reflect truth without softening it or sensationalizing it. Working with her has helped me understand myself in ways I couldn't quite reach on my own. I chose to share this reading as the first episode because it offers a clearer picture of who I am and what I'm here for than I could ever try to explain. You'll hear my real, candid reactions as Amy walks me through my human design, gene keys, and a bit of astrology. Nothing is polished or edited for performance, just truth landing in real time. I also wanted to name something important as I open this space. I've recorded several different episodes already. I have countless hours of my own recorded readings. I've spent a lot of time wondering how to introduce myself properly. And then I realized something. I'm so multidimensional that if I tried to fully explain who I am in a 40 to 60 minute episode, your brains might actually explode. That's when it clicked. I don't need to define myself all at once. I don't need to explain myself neatly. I get to show you parts of me, one episode at a time. And wow, how freeing that realization was. So instead of starting with a summary, I'm starting with presence and being witnessed myself, with letting you hear how my purpose sounds when it's reflected clearly. If you feel called to explore Amy's work, you can find her at amybelair.com and on Instagram at cosmic.oracle. If you want to stay connected with me, you can find me on Instagram at Hyacinth Healing and at digintoconsulting.com. No pressure, just open doors. Thank you for being here at the beginning and embarking on this unknown journey with me. I'm not quite sure what the direction of this show will be or how things will go, whether I'll have videos every time or just audio, but you can find this on anywhere you listen. Please follow the show so you're notified when new episodes drop. This is just episode 1, and this is me, in my experience.
Do you want to tell me, while you're driving, where you're at with your soul purpose and what part of it you would really love to get whatever clarity and focus on? Like I saw in your blurby that you wrote, you'd just like to hear it through
I
interpretation.
think more specifically what I'm supposed to distill down
because
Mm.
my what based on my human design and my gene keys and my incarnation cross and all that stuff, it's very clear that I have built-in energy to keep repeating myself, and that I have like it's complex information, making complex information more digestible and then being able to repeat that until people understand it. So I'm wondering what specifically that could be about, because it could be about living and like homesteading and connecting with nature. It could be about priestess stuff and sex magic. It could be about anything. Like I feel like it's supposed to. I want to get in the right direction of what I'm supposed to do, because I feel like I can apply my design to lots of different subjects. So I want
Hmm.
to like I know what matters to me, but I'm wondering like what in the design, if anything, comes through for like what I should specifically focus on to make that more clear, Because I feel like
Yeah.
the Gemini aspect, I'm like all over the place. Like my Gemini ascendant, like I feel like I'm certified in this, certified in that, certified, but none of that matters because I've always had those abilities, and I
Hmm.
know that the only reason I did those classes is mostly like for other people to understand. Like it's like I don't know, to make them feel better instead of like, yeah, I actually don't know what I'm doing, but I know that I can like totally like change your energy field and connect with your past lives and like bring up patterns, and I know that I trigger a lot of people. Usually usually their deepest stuff comes out near me, and I'm kind of used to getting like blamed for that, but I think that's also part of it. That might be what I'm supposed to do too. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what parts of your looked at?
I think it was like 49 something,
Hmm.
20, if that's something, or maybe I
Hmm.
don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it's like the freak to genius, like complex, out out of the normal understanding, like things that I can understand, and I'm supposed to distill that down and make it easier to digest and understand to other people about specific things. Now,
Yeah.
what those specific things are, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So what you're feeling is like, is it, are you thinking of this in terms of like how to show up on social media or whatever platform and like how to talk to people so that they are like, "Ooh, I want to work with her," or is it more just like for your own self, like what am I doing?
Kind of both. Kind of both. So, like, I would like to learn what maybe comes through for you and your interpretation of this. Because, like, I've done
Mm.
my own sitting with it,
Mhm.
but like, you just bring through things with so much clarity. I was like, I gotta hear what she has to say. So
Okay.
it's like, whatever you like, I don't want to tilt it anyway. Like, however you want to do it, you do it. And then from that, I'm sure I'll get guidance that's helpful.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, I'm excited. Like I see patterns already. As I've been studying your charts and looking, yeah, looking at all the pieces. So let me now, the funny thing about these readings is that I have like five different note resources that because like I'm looking through three different charts and then I've like made notes here and notes there so I can organize them all, not have to scroll too much, but it makes me feel really self-conscious while I'm doing it because
No,
I
don't worry.
just like clicking between
Your
windows
like,
all the
don't worry about it. Yeah, no,
Okay.
don't feel self-conscious around me. Don't worry about it at all.
Okay. Okay.
But I
So
understand what you're saying.
I mean, I'm used to just like looking at your face and talking right to you, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, so with your gene keys, with the gene keys, the one that I really like, the piece that I really like to look at, even more so, the piece that I like to look at even more than mm, I mean, I like to look at it's called whatever, the activation sequence, right? Which is, oh, it's like your incarnation cross, but through the Gene Keys lens.
Okay.
I do like to look at that, but I feel like that's kind of a general like life purpose kind of thing. And life purpose can be whatever. It can just be like the purpose of your incarnation. And to be honest, I think that most of us just end up fulfilling our life purpose to some degree or another without
Hmm.
having to intellectualize it. So what
Yes.
the part that I like to look at is the pearl sequence, which is about more about like your work and what you're sharing actively. And it can be interpreted through like business or career, which is obviously what I tend to do, but it's more just the acknowledgement. Like I really love this little sequence, this pearl sequence, because it's like the acknowledgement that we all have gifts and that we are
Mhm.
designed to share those gifts and what are they, and that prosperity comes for us, like abundance prosperity comes for us as we share those gifts more and more. So that's kind of what I start with, and then I meander through the various parts of your human design in particular. Astrology I'll put in little bits here and there, but I'm finding gene keys in human design to kind of like be the real bangers. So for in your pearl sequence, there is a sphere of vocation. And yours is gene key 25 in line 5. And ultimately, like as I was reading, his words about it and meditating on this gene key, what I feel, and especially knowing you, but even if I didn't know you, the thing that really stands out to me is that like your core inner calling and deepest gift to the world is forgiveness. You're here to dissolve fear-based self-preservation constructs and alchemize wounded power dynamics and elevate the collective timeline through forgiveness and your huge capacity for universal compassion and love. And the shadow of Gene Key 25 is constriction. And so it shows up as emotional armor. So it's kind of like tightening your heart to avoid pain, disappointment, or vulnerability. And it's like a self-protection that can create distance from others and from our own joy. And then the gift of this gene key is acceptance, which is like a soft, steady willingness to meet life exactly as it is. And acceptance in this sense isn't resignation or like defeat. It's the fertile ground from which transformation naturally grows. So with this gift, like challenges become opportunities for deeper compassion and deeper connection. And then at the city level, acceptance blooms into universal love, which is, a boundless, unconditional love that embraces all beings without exception. And in this state, there is no separation between giver and receiver or self and other. It's just like this constant, like infinity figure eight of just like flowing energy of like witnessing other and being present with other and being it's almost like it dissolves hierarchy too, like there's no, even in, let's say, like a mentorship capacity, it's at this level, there's no, the mentor is not above the mentee. It's like they are both being enhanced and amplified through their presence and connection with each other. And so, like, let's say in business, for example, Gene Key 25 is like a heart healer. So you're here to create spaces where people feel safe to open their hearts again, which is in such alignment with the things that you already offer and even like space to speak. It's just, that beautiful offer that you have where you're just like, hey, if you just need somewhere to talk, it's like the people that you're calling in are often maybe struggling with that shadow level of constriction emotional armor, like tightening up to avoid pain or disappointment and vulnerability, and your presence allows them to open their hearts again, um, because you just embody compassion in your presence. And so your business thrives when your work reflects your capacity to meet people where they are without judgment, which you already do. And it's so beautiful. And I saw that awesome review you got from somebody that you shared on social media that I think just really speaks to this.
That it's funny. Somebody commented on that post. They said scam. And it's like not even someone that I know. Like some random person just said scam on that like testimonial. So then I like made a clapback video and I was like,
Guys.
you can book a session with me. If you want, send me a DM. I'll send you a free link. I like your jacket. Like I was like complimenting them. I just don't even know. Like it's so funny though. I don't know why it bothered me because I like paid to have that boosted and then somebody just put something negative that like it's like why
That's
no.
I know, but it's like it that shit bothers me too because it's like people are so hateful and it's so easy to just be gross and leave a gross energy that is not
Yeah.
needed or invited, right? It's so easy for people to just spread their gross feelings that
Yeah.
they don't feel like they're not in a place of maturity where they can just like deal with it and process it themselves. So they just spread it. And
Yeah.
ooh, somebody who's trying to do something good, scam. And yeah, it's disheartening, but screw
It's
that person.
funny. It's funny to me. It's funny to me. I think I handled it well.
Yeah, for sure. Totally. I love that you made a clap back and of like, hey, I like your jacket and you can book a reading if you want, or a session if you want.
I was like, maybe we can figure out why you feel the need to put negative comments with no basis on other people's things. Like,
Legit, totally. Like, I'll help you figure it out so you're not in this like shitty space within yourself anymore. I love
it's
that.
funny.
So that's your vocation, which it just means it's like it's your sacred work. It's sort of like, according to his Richard Rudd and like the way he speaks about this pearl sequence, it's like your vocation is your own core wound that you've healed at some point along the way, maybe in childhood, adolescence, at some point in adulthood, whatever. And so then it's like the pure thing that you have to offer. And like, even when I was, preparing just that one, I was like, God, this is so true of you, though. And the way that you've navigated the whole, issue of divorce and like your thing has always been to try and dissolve the like enmity and polarity and be in a heart open space within all of it. Um,
Yeah.
so then
Well, that makes
the
sense. That makes me feel good.
yeah,
Because people treat me like I'm crazy. Like, how could you still talk to him? How could you be nice to him? Don't make food for him? And I'm like, I would do that for anyone. I would do that for anyone because that's what we should do as humans. We should be kind. We should offer food. We should,
really,
you know what I mean? So then it's like I'm not going to stop offering that to him because that would mean that I turn my back and I don't turn my back. Like, but people don't
yeah.
understand. Like they're like, how could you still talk to him? I don't understand like how you could ever be nice to him like after he what he did to you. And it's like he did that to me because he was afraid of that.
Hmm.
Like that just like made me feel sorry for him.
But
Like
it's
it what
also
didn't make me mad. It made me sad. Like
people are so conditional, right? And that's the thing is like you're embodying this unconditional, universal compassion and love where you're like, well, just because he did the things he did and is the way he is, doesn't mean I have to change my core self, and my core self would make food for anyone. So I'm
yeah.
going to
Yeah.
make food. It's like
Yeah.
he's doing him. I'm doing me.
Yeah.
But it is
Yeah.
like it is a very novel concept still in
I
our
think it
world.
makes total sense. But yeah, I don't
Like
know.
I do too. So then the next sphere in the pearl sequence, it's kind of shaped like a little triangle. And so there's like three spheres and one in the middle. So the next one over is the sphere of culture. And like the way he says it is the gene key of your culture shows you how you best fit in the social fabric of the world. And in your pearl sequence, the shadow of this gene key directly blocks you from manifesting prosperity. The way I think about the culture, because I found it really hard to like, that was the hardest one for me to understand. It felt the most abstract. The way that I've come to think about it and understand it, which has like really resonated for me, but also really resonated for everybody that I've been doing these readings for, is that it's like understanding what kind of environment you are best suited to, like in which you thrive and to which you would like to contribute. And so it would be like if it's a garden, it's like knowing what kind of garden you're planting and growing. And then that's going to affect the soil and the different plants you choose. And it's knowing that like every person or every plant is not going to thrive in every single garden or every environment, that we all do best in a specific, you know, culture, as it were, like collective human culture. So
Yeah.
this, to me, it's like not only what you're meant to contribute to, but also what you are nourished by. And for you, it is Gene Key 20, line 2. And so it's like it's the journey from the shadow of superficiality to the gift of self-assurance, and then the city of presence. So Gene Key 20, um, at the shadow level is like superficiality, where people are just skimming the surface of life, just projecting an image, kind of like rushing ahead or reacting or speaking without any depth or thought behind it. And or like chasing trends or being overly concerned with appearances rather than truth. So that's the shadow expression of this. But the gift is like a grounded confidence that comes from living authentically in the moment. So for you, with this being your sphere of culture, it's like you want to contribute to and you are nurtured by putting yourself in cultures slash environments where people don't need to prove themselves and their actions speak through their alignment. And so, yeah, like you're really here to be um, very authentically yourself and to contribute to that being like a healthy, accessible option in the greater collective of humanity, where you just, like you're nurtured by seeing other people who show up in that way, and then you're inspired
Mm-hmm.
to contribute back to it. Like, let's just drop all
Mm-hmm.
pretenses. Let's not pretend that we're something other than what we are. And like appearances don't matter. What matters is truth and just like being our real selves, whatever that may be in any given moment. And then
Yeah.
yeah, and the city level of it is just presence, where like,
Being
it's
comfortable sitting as myself, like no matter
right.
what's going on. I've been totally feeling that lately. Like it's like I was talking with Aaron a couple months ago and he was like, "You haven't been posting." And I was like, "Yeah, because I don't really like have anything to say. Like I'm not focused on my business. Like I was doing all kinds of other stuff, you know? But now I would like to focus more on it." And like I feel like I don't have the space to do what I wanted to do because like I should have done it when I was at my house, set up a tripod and just taken videos of me like working and doing stuff. And like I would have had like endless hours of like, stuff to make reels from. But like I didn't do that because I was so focused on working. I was the only one doing it. I could barely even like make sure I drank water. So like I definitely wasn't setting up a tripod and videotaping myself. Like you know what I mean? Like I was just in it.
Totally.
But like that's probably what I would do. Like if I could live on a property and like have land, like basically I would just like
probably record myself constantly and just like do what I want to do, what I want to like see, to somehow like making groups for women. I had a channel reading with Erica.
Mm-hmm.
She was saying that like she sees me like coaching women on how to like gather up sexual energy and be like a sacred priestess and like to be fully embodied in my sexual energy and to like overcome shame from other people that has been like made me feel small or like I need to hide it or like not let out my like feminine authority, I guess. But like she's like, you need to like show that to people and then people will be drawn to you. And then like you will be able to coach like life. It's like basically like life coaching. And I'm like, that would be cool. That would be cool. I could see that too. And like working through sexual trauma and different stuff like that. Even with men, like it's not just, I wouldn't say it's just for women on the separation between masculine and feminine.
Yeah, so like basically when you're like completely in this sphere of culture, yeah, in whatever way you're contributing to people being able to just really be authentic. It's almost like it's the irony of it is like being an influencer that's an anti-influencer, but not even like deliberately anti-influencer. Like it's not like you're against it, but it's just like letting people see the authentic way that you are without any pretenses and knowing that that is influencing more people to feel
Mm.
that they're enough and fine with wherever they are, however they are, so that
Yeah,
you know, it's like contributing to the dissolving of the spell, the illusion that we like need to strive to become somebody else first before
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
agency.
yeah, yeah. I've also been thinking about making a podcast because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I just have so much to say, like from even just my experiences in my life, like how that can parallel and like what I've understood through those journeys. Like I just really feel like I do have things to share, but I need to work on my speech. Like I say the F word so much that like
Oh my
I
God,
feel
so do
like
I.
it well, no, you don't say it as much as I do. Like when I'm talking and I'm not thinking and I'm just like rambling, like I say like a lot. I say, you know what I mean? And I say the F word. And all of that is a waste of space, all of it. So it's like, see, I said like again. It is. I need to change how I talk and be more clear on stuff. But I just still feel like I'm not in the right, I don't have the right support system to like feel empowered enough to like speak. It's in my head. I get like great ideas in my head. I'm like, if I could just sit right now and record what I'm thinking, it would be like, preach. But I just can't, I can't get it out. But that's just the season of the life right now, I think. I think that as I focus more on what I want to do, that would come back to me, that energy to do that. I don't know why that feels lacking right now, but
Well, why don't you just record it as though you're recording a podcast and just bank them up? And that then allows it to move through you because
yeah,
you know it's going to get like you're naturally going to, without having to overthink the process of changing your speech, you'll just not like every episode you record it'll just become built in. It's like kind of like learning how to ride a bike. It's not smooth at first, but you don't have to overthink the process. You just kind of figure it out. And then there's no
yeah,
pressure to publish it. Like you could publish all those at some point, or they could just be like a dry run, but you're really recording them as podcast episodes rather than just like personal, voice
yeah, yeah,
ramble.
yeah. For some reason, I feel like it's more important to talk about like the perspectives that I've gained through my journey for other people to like I don't know how to say this. Like I've saw this from the very beginning. My initial awakening is that like I was able to like speak on what was happening and people actually understood what I was saying. I was able to explain it never happened that way in real life. But like when I when I was imagining, I was like, okay, this makes so much sense. And like this is the way that I see how everything works and the potential that I see in people and like how we can connect stuff and like pull it all up. It's all happening. Like I just it was so clear to me. And um I feel like there's people need to be, I don't know how to say it without being like warned, but prepared. It's almost like they won't get it when they hear it, but the hearing it and then something will happen like massive like collective awakenings and people will be like that'll be like one little thing that helps somebody click into like I'm okay. This is okay and I can choose to come into my heart and connect. Like instead, instead of getting scared and like I don't know. I just wish everyone was talking about stuff like this every day, but
Yeah, but I mean,
in our
that's your
yeah, I feel like it's not clear though. Like I still there's stuff missing. Maybe I'm not supposed to speak about it. Just be about it. Be about it and talk about it openly, authentically, and that's what will.
Well, I mean, it's interesting you say that because then that can like I can put a pin in the gene keys and move over to your human design for a minute and just say like, well, you have two defined channels from your throat. So you have that one, the freak to genius one, or like, you could call it like the genius whisperer, like it's like it creates a channel of intuitive genius that's seeking verbal form. It's nonlinear, it's like lightning fast, and it's often misunderstood until the timing is right. But this insight that emerges, it's an insight that emerges fully formed, like just like you were describing, like you're in an awakening, an intense awakening for the first time, and you're like, I see it all. Like this is what's
Yeah,
happening. That's that channel that is coming
yeah,
through, and it's like it's not
that
logical,
makes
like
sense.
piecing it together. It's just like super fast insight, internal clarity that just drops in. And I guess like yeah, you could understand that like part of your job with this channel is to wait for the correct moment and audience so that your words land as the truth bomb that they are, especially as a projector. But I also feel like projectors, I mean, not as a blanket statement or anything, in their own way, however they're meant to work and whatever they're here to do, they're part of how they operate is to just put it out there and then
Yeah,
let people find,
choose.
yeah. And so,
I
yeah,
think
like,
that that's what I need to do because I wait for invitations and I do. I get offered jobs a lot. I get offered also in relationships, like not that I have relationships, but this is why I don't have them, is because they want me. They want to possess me. They want me. Like
Mhm, mhm.
they want my energy around. And that's typically why people invite me into things. So then I have to choose if I want to give my
Yeah,
energy to those people. Where in the past, I was sort of just like, of course I'll give my energy, whatever, wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, of course I'm gonna get, and I don't have the energy for that. So that has been illuminating the past
yeah.
couple of years.
Well, and that's the thing with projectors too, right? Is like yes, wait for the invitation, but also that doesn't mean you have to accept every invitation that
Hmm.
is extended to you. But like in terms of, me, I'm always thinking about, like how to step into our soul purpose in a way that we can offer it into the world as a service and receive whatever resources we need in exchange to be able to thrive and continue doing our work. So in this paradigm, we call it business. Um, so then I think about projectors and like, well, like, how does marketing work for projectors? But I think it is like if you feel called to start a podcast, and it doesn't have to be right now. Like if your intuition is saying that you don't have the support or the things in place to be able to start, then that it is what it is. And I get that very much. Like those practical considerations are real. But creating the podcast and just putting it out there is what gives people an opportunity to extend you an invitation.
Exactly. Because I
So you
found that
don't,
when I go places, I get offered all kinds of stuff, like going to plant medicine retreats with Christopher in different
yeah,
states with other people from other states. Those are lasting relationships. I still talk to those people on a daily basis, a lot of
yeah,
them. So it's like, and I'm going on another retreat at the end of October with him, and I don't understand my channels. Could you tell me more about the channels
yeah,
and
for
like,
sure.
because I don't like I've gotten readings before, but like not a lot. And I just look at it myself and I try to understand, like slowly I'll look things up, like the all the numbers, the incarnation cross and the gates and all that stuff. I've looked them up, but I don't feel like I don't know much.
It's a lot. And like one of the
Yeah.
things I'm learning as I do these, like start incorporating this stuff, is the it can feel like information overload, which is not helpful. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm learning how to figure out what pieces are really relevant to a person to hear because we're definitely
Yeah.
not going to uncover the entire shebang,
It's
even in the
so
75-minute
much.
call. It's so
Yeah.
much. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the channels I think are a great place. So you have that one, you have the freak to genius where, you just
And
you
that's
get
my throat.
yeah, so it's from your ajna to your throat. Um
Okay.
and then you also have channel 10 to 20 from your G to your throat. So your G center to your throat center. And that one is basically like it's like the embodied speaker. So you could say its tagline is like, I express who I am. I speak from the now. My voice is presence, not performance. And so it's like forming a self-expressed voice of identity in the present moment. You're not here to speak for approval, you're here to speak from embodiment in service to what is alive right now. So your presence, when fully aligned, becomes a transmission that awakens others, which I think is so true of you. And those two channels work so beautifully together. So, like in business, you're not here to you're not here to build a brand. You just are your own brand. I mean, and I think that's true of everybody, but like your embodiment is kind of the thing. Like you don't lead by teaching intellectually what you know and what you've intellectually learned. You lead by being who you are. When your self-love is expressed out loud, it becomes a mirror that activates others. And again, like that's one of the reasons I've loved having you on the podcast because like you've moved through such intense shit, like really, really difficult conflicts that absolutely like offered you many opportunities to choose victim consciousness and enmity consciousness. And I'm sure you had your moments, but the point
Hmm.
is you didn't stay there. You continuously chose like I said, your vocation, like forgiveness and universal love, and then also your culture of like total acceptance and presence, and you just chose that over and over, and that's what's really powerful for you to share from. And you can share
Mm-hmm.
it for your own stories, but you don't have to continuously tell your story over and over and over as though
Yeah.
that's all there is to
I
it.
don't
It's
want
like
to, but I do think it's important.
so I think as I listen to like these things that you're sharing, as well as like even just looking at these two channels, you have three other channels as well that I can talk about too. But I feel like kind of with your initial question, the part where you're like, well, I'm built to repeat, the same thing over and over, which is true, even just from a projector standpoint. Like projectors are just I genuinely envy projectors in that like you're designed to niche down. And I wish I was. I feel like it would make my life easier. And you could say I niche because the Akashic Records, but it's like I keep trying. It's like so much effort to niche it back down. I just don't explode, like you said, with the Gemini stuff in all directions. But it also doesn't have to be boring, you know? And so the through line that I hear and that I see reflected in the pieces we've looked at so far is like, if I was going to give it a title, which you do not have to take on this title, but just for the sake of clarity, um, it would be like a radical authenticity coach where you just demonstrate and support people in total acceptance of their authenticity, whatever that may be right now. Even if they have like I was talking to somebody, I had another call before yours, and she's having a lot of childhood sexual abuse trauma come up and has been like trying to suppress this like murderous rage she has. But
Mhm.
and we were talking about it, and I was like, what if you can just accept that that is holy and it is a completely appropriate reaction, and you're not murdering anyone, but you're allowed to want to, like with that level of rage. And
Mhm.
it's like that. Like I think that you like it takes everything that you were saying before that you could talk about and puts it under the greater umbrella of like radical authenticity, like learning to navigate your sacred sexuality and also receiving a lot of intense sexual projections, and
Mhm.
learning how to like really elevate and hold a standard for yourself that isn't necessarily societally practiced or demonstrated. Um,
Mhm. Like I would love to be able to have a very serious but also comfortable conversation around that, around sex, around people's traumas, like from them. Like I want to hold that space and have the energy for them to feel so comfortable and safe saying everything that they're thinking and feeling without
mhm.
feeling anything about me in their way. You know what I mean? Like just feeling so
Yeah.
safe to say that, and then also for me to be able to like I think it would happen a lot in the ways that like people would say inappropriate stuff to me. That has happened a lot in my life, like just absolutely inappropriate. And people a lot of the time like want to have sex with me. I can't explain it. I don't understand. I don't think I'm that beautiful. I think it's an energetic thing. I think
Yeah,
it
yeah.
really truly it has to do with my energy. It has nothing to do with like what I look like. Um, but it makes me self-conscious, like I'm doing something wrong in my energy to elicit that from other people, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But
And being,
I
yeah,
I think it's just natural. So like I need to like overcome that and just be have those boundaries where I feel safe too. You know what I mean? Like
right.
just having a conversation about like sexual stuff doesn't mean that they're hitting on me. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that, but sometimes people worm their way in and then they like, so I don't know. I don't want that. I don't want to be like projected on with stuff, but I also feel like I would be able to just mirror it back.
Yeah. I mean, I think you would. And I'm kind of thinking too, like this moves really beautifully into another, like the fourth of or the third of your fourth. Oh my God. The third of your four channels. There, I said it. I got it out. Which is it's really about negotiating contracts, but not necessarily like, legal contracts, although it can include that, but it's like negotiating appropriate boundaries, give and take, so that it's like reciprocal, it's nourishing to both parties. But it's the channel 37 to 40, and it's like a combination of I guess like it connects gate 40, which is about aloneness versus willingness to work in your heart or will center, with gate 37, which is around friendship and family in the solar plexus. But it's like it's a tribal part of the tribal circuit, and it's really about reciprocity. So it's like doing your part and ensuring that others do theirs too. And it's about love with boundaries, support, and integrity and service that's emotionally rooted. So you can also really speak into like how to mediate sexual energy and like mediate projections, mediate mutual attraction, like mediate those boundaries so that they feel good for both parties and they are, which I think is a skill that is sorely needed in this world. Like we have, it's all well and good to talk about boundaries and permission and shit, but like you and I both know that sometimes it's super hot to say no when you mean yes. So there's a lot of, it's not clearly delineated, but how do we figure out how to mediate it appropriately, right? And even if you don't necessarily like decide to become a sacred sexuality mediation coach, um, you can still speak into it. You can still like loop that into what you do. And before I move on to the other channel, but I feel like for you and the way that you are, and that the culture of having no pretenses, you don't have to lead with the priestess thing, but you can also like say I'm a priestess, but you can have an energy that is like, well, just different from the way that she presents, but you know how she has various offers around the different components of what she ultimately is here for. And so if you're here really for like radical authenticity and like helping people who are repressed and compartmentalized and closed off to feel that safety to just be completely open and like you said, speak into whatever, whether it's a sexual thing or a spiritual awakening thing or whatever, but like speak into the intense energies they may not have even let themselves say aloud to themselves, so that they can move forward with like, oh, these are the pieces of me. I can move forward with this. And you can have something that's like specifically around sexuality, and you can have something that's around awakening, or something that's just around like self-honesty or whatever.
It reminds me of that practice session we had. I don't remember the guy's name, but it was one of the only men that we had on during the Akashic Holographic Mastery. And I just had this crazy energy that was definitely related to like sexual trauma and repression from him. And I had to like run around the house. I remember that. I turned my camera off and I like had to run around the house. I was like, but I didn't bring it up, So I felt like, I don't know. I wished that I brought that up because I feel like that was something that needed to be said, but I don't know.
Okay, so I'll tell you about your fourth channel, and then we can move into any other part of it that you want to, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm wrong. You have 5. 2 more to go. Okay, so the next one that I'll go into is actually like where are my notes here? Yes, it's your emotional wave. So it's connecting your root center to your solar plexus, and it's channel 19 to 49. It's known as the channel of synthesis. And so you have an emotional authority, which just means that your decisions ultimately, like your emotional wave is how do I put it?
I make decisions based on how I feel.
Yes, you make decisions based on how you feel, but like the way to leverage that emotional authority is to become more aware of the quality and nature of your emotional wave so that you can feel when you're at the neutral point. So your decisions are coming from the neutrality, which is where you'll have real clarity and you'll have the follow through to be able to carry out that decision. Whereas if it's weighted on like the higher side of your emotional wave, you may say yes because in the moment you feel really good, but then later when that emotional energy isn't available, you're like, oh, why did I say that? But likewise, when you're in a low, you might say no to something that otherwise would be a yes, but you're in like kind of a funk. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But your emotional wave is a pressurized relational wave that builds from your root and then crescendos in your solar plexus. And so you're not as moody as other emotional authorities. It's not as moody of a channel. And it's also not necessarily like about creative melancholy like other emotional channels. It's more about tension around needs and rules and relationships. So again, like a similar pattern again about how like interchange between dynamics and boundaries and like give and take do affect you. But the way it feels is like it's just a subtle buildup of pressure. Um, and then something just like sets you off and there has to be a release of the emotion and then it resets to
100%. 100%. Yeah, that's
so
true for sure.
so it's just yeah like being aware of even looking at that and noticing the pattern and the way it plays out so that you can identify your neutral zone and know like that's the emotional set point where decisions are clear. And then giving yourself permission to take your time with decisions until you get to that neutral place and like you're not here to make snap decisions. Yeah, but you're very sensitive to the needs of others and the moods of others and of the tribe as well. And so yeah, that sensitivity is part of what builds up the pressure. It's like when you're like hypersensitized to others' needs, and so you're like providing for others and like considering their needs, but that is not being reciprocated, and like
And
and
then
all
it's like light bulb turns on. I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck? And then I
yeah,
throw the plates down. I'm like, I'm going to get in the shower. Like
exactly.
doing stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm like, actually, no, I need you to leave me alone and I'm going to go take a nap. Yeah, very
Exactly.
true.
And then the final channel that you have is the first channel. It is from between gate 1 and gate 8. So it's like the channel of inspiration. And again, it goes to your throat. So you have a lot to say, and you should just let yourself say it. But it's like I express my truth, and through it, I inspire others. So this channel carries pure individual creative energy from gate 1 to gate 8. So gate 1 is like creativity, just pure creative self-expression, and gate 8 is like the greater contribution, which is also your pearl in the gene keys. But it's the natural flow of authentic artistry and uniqueness moving outwards from identity to voice. So you're not here to copy or conform, which you don't do anyways.
Mhm.
But you're here to be yourself so fully, so boldly, and so vibrantly that it awakens and activates something in others. And your mirror,
That is so nice.
isn't
What a
it?
nice oh, that's so nice of me to do for. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't do it for myself. A little bit. That's
But
sweet.
isn't it? I feel like I have this one too, and I just love having this channel because it's like your literal existence is like without even necessarily doing it for others, you're doing it for yourself, but it's like an invitation and inspiration for others to feel the permission to do the same. And so for you, because it like I'll just speak into it from the Gene Keys perspective, it is your pearl. And the pearl is sort of like, I don't know, you could say it's like the key to your It's the key to your prosperity. I mean, all of these four spheres create the full picture of your prosperity, but the pearl is, he says, your pearl represents a great harvest in your life. This gene key brings you rewards and grace once you have let go of its underlying shadow pattern. And the shadow pattern is mediocrity. So it's people who just choose to blend in and look, whatever. Everybody who has the house that looks the same and, a capsule wardrobe based on what's in for fall winter 2025. And like they don't, like they're not like wearing what they fucking want to wear. They don't even have a concept of that. They're just like, oh, what's in
Yeah.
style? So that's the
Yeah.
shadow expression because it's like just wanting to blend in because I guess people don't feel like they are enough. And then the counter shadow projection, like the other way it can play out is like becoming a rebel without a cause. So it's like all the punks, from the 90s who are
Mm-hmm.
just like fuck mediocrity, but to the point where they're also not being themselves because their self becomes
Mm-hmm.
defined by what they're rebelling against. And the
Mm-hmm.
gift of this gene key and this gate is the gift of style. So it's like, I mean, fashion style, but also your whole being of just being
Mm-hmm.
like, sort of like your own little icon that you're just exuding your own style, like for you, because it's what you like. This is how you feel good. And the
I
city,
do notice that people copy me a lot, but they don't give me credit.
hmm,
Like that happens a lot. I wonder why that would be. I don't want credit, but also I need recognition. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure.
It's
Yeah.
I need recognition, but I don't get it. Like people copy or learn from me and then just like pretend it was theirs. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's rude.
Where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that from, huh? It's just funny, but doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're in their mediocrity, right? And they're like, yeah, they can't figure out how to just like do their own thing. And they're drawn to your embodiment of your authenticity. But
That's okay.
the most elevated expression of this gene key is exquisiteness. So the revelation of the wild and untamed beauty of life within self and other. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's so, like overall, my takeaway again is like whether you lead with this or not, you don't necessarily have to make it part of your direct whatever messaging, but you are here to just like create like a wave and a revolution of people claiming themselves, claiming their authenticity, claiming their truth, like not hiding who they are anymore, not blending in, not denying themselves, not shaming themselves or, gaslighting themselves, making themselves wrong, but where there's just like space to have true dialogue, to drop pretenses, to learn how to, manage their power and manage their energy. Like once people have dropped the pretenses, then I think that's probably where you can start to help them in terms of like sexuality and
I feel like it's so funny because I'm thinking about like it's interesting when I get around other people. Like if I travel anywhere and I'm just being, people will talk to me and eventually like they want my number, they want me to work with them, they want whatever. But around here, like where I'm from and like in my normal routines and people that I talk to, like I feel like they don't even notice me. It's so weird. I'm like, am I in the wrong spot? Like I feel like I might be in the wrong spot.
I
But
mean maybe you should like look up your astrocartography. That is
I
something I
did
cannot make sense of those charts.
Canada. Canada. I'm supposed to be in Canada, Australia, and like southwestern Africa, I think.
Oh.
Oh, okay. I'll try.
That's hilarious.
I'd be down to go to Australia though.
Yeah, maybe you'll get there and then it'll be like, oh, people get me.
That would be cool, or I would feel so weird. I would be like, ugh, I'm not comfortable with this. I'd go back to where, no, I don't think I would ever do that. Keep going back. No.
So what other piece of your soul purpose do you want to look into? Like there's like so many points in your charts that we could focus on, but like from just even a hashing it out standpoint, like what a
Um, I don't even know what to call them, like conjunctions or something, like what, or like the things that line up or whatever's going on that you think that I should know of that are important. Because I know like my ascendant is conjunct Chiron, and apparently that means something about being a healer and being like, taking the path of like, kind of like the dark empath path. But anything else like that you think is like major regarding human design that I might not be? I guess that I'm thinking of like natal charts, astro.
there's so much in each of these charts that I'm trying to figure
Yeah,
out how do I deliver this so it's actually receivable and useful.
I
Um,
like that you keep it kind of open because then it's like you can focus on certain things like whatever that person wants to or whatever calls to you, you know?
yeah, well, my like I would just hate to have a session where I just talk at somebody and it's not even the stuff that they want to know anyways. And I just like spent their whole entire session that they paid for and that whole like hour and change just talking without checking in. I'd be like, well, what do you want? That just like
Yeah,
be the worst. I like
you're the
cringe at
you're the best. You're the best.
that. Oh my goodness. Well, do you want to talk about your profile in human design? Is that something that you understand or would like to understand better? Or do you want to talk more about like the energetics of being a projector? Or do
I
you want
think
me to?
the profile perspective as far as like the role model part, like I feel like I understand the opportunist. Well, maybe both of them because there's always
Okay,
something different perspective that you give. 'Cause I think I've looked and thought into that and like seen different explanations on the 4-6 and I love to get your perspective too though. That's you always have valuable information.
thanks, Christine. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so the 4-6 profile, like, well, I guess, okay, if I were to look at the lines individually, the to me, the four line, the really cool thing about the four line is I feel like you guys are built to naturally almost like grow a word of mouth business or a referral based business, which I like hardcore envy. Um, Not that you necessarily have to, but it is all about networks and who you meet. And so even like when you said when you go to retreats and like you still talk frequently with a bunch of the people that you met in retreats and you just in a very natural way collect relationships that aren't necessarily like super close and we're best friends, but it's like a network, but it's a natural organic network and a lot of
Yeah.
um your opportunities or like doorways or whatever come from there. So it's interesting because I think that's where like in the, beep beep boop boop like corporate business world, the idea of networking is just that, but it's like ultimately self-serving and weirdly inorganic in a lot of ways to create
Mm-hmm.
networking events just so you meet people so that you know the right people. It's gross. But the true pure energy of a four line is like, I don't know, I just meet people. And like I just like keep growing this collection of connections that are authentic and doorways open for me from that without me trying to orchestrate the doors to open. So for you, like, for example, you could do really well um, participating in the retreats that others are facilitating, but not necessarily from a retreat attendee perspective, although for sure that too, but more like, doing like, let's just say QHHT sessions or something like that. You do QHHT, right? Am I making
I
that up?
don't do that. No, I don't do that brand, but I would like to because might as
Okay.
well. I feel like that's the most well-known one, so I would like to, but I did not do that initially. But other certifications, it's just
Yeah,
not
like
that brand. Yeah.
that's fine. Having received two QHHT sessions, I'll say like I don't think they're vastly different from
Yeah.
like past life regressions. I don't.
Yeah.
Um, I think it depends on the person and what the person is ready for at that
Exactly.
point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you could do past life regression sessions at a like you could do a group past life regression at somebody's retreat and then offer like a limited number of private slots for people who want to like get in on that, in their free time at the retreat or something. Like you would do really well with that. It would just open up so many natural avenues for you. Um,
Yeah.
that would take a lot of the pressure off of the concept of marketing,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it kind of includes your family and friends too, but in the sense that they may not be awake themselves and ready to like have the conversations that you're ready to have, whether in a work capacity or just like in an honest capacity, but they might know somebody who is ready and they just mention you to them or something. Like there's just this beautiful organic, like it's like your people bring more of your people to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just the way you're built. Like if you're too close to your family, that could just put a damper on your own energy and enthusiasm and confidence, but it's still
Mm-hmm.
it's still always working for you and
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah. For sure.
And then with the role model, okay, this is, I mean, I'm sure you know because I'm sure you've looked it up, but like supposedly it happens in three life segments. And
Mm-hmm.
that first segment, you're just kind of like a hot mess and just trying to figure it out, or you feel like a hot mess, anyways. I don't know. I'm not a six line, so can only surmise. But then in the second phase is like you're retreating and you're observing, and then the third phase, that's where you come back out and you're more of a role model. But I feel like that is such a, I'm not saying it's not true. And I'm in the process of reading Ruhu's like first original writings when he first channeled and started writing down all this human design stuff to go back to the source to understand it better. But I feel like that's a very, I don't know, I just don't jive with that. But I do at the same time. I just think there's something deeper and richer to it. So when I
Mm-hmm.
look at the six lines that I know, particularly the ones that are in my family that I know really well, this is what it feels like to me. In the first season of life, like a role model is always a role model. A six line is always a role model their whole entire life. That's how people receive them and respond to them. But in the first phase of their life, they don't feel particularly role model-y. They feel like a work in progress. So it's like an internal feeling of like, I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't feel confident in myself. I'm still trying to figure it out. But all along, they're still exuding this role model energy where others are looking to them and being like, oh, like this is an example of how I can do this or that or whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a little bit quieter at that point because they don't have the confidence to advertise themselves as a role model, but they're still role modeling. And then in the second phase, it's like they're just in between, like they're kind of figuring out like this is the phase you're in, where you're like, in some ways, yeah, I can see like how I can be a role model, or like how I help people, how I have that particular kind of influence where it's not really about me like telling them what to do, but they, as they watch me and observe me, it gives them like inspiration or an example, a template of like how to be,
Mm-hmm.
or a way to be. So it's like you're half in, half out. Like in some ways, in that middle section, you still feel like, even as you were saying with the podcast, like I don't know why I can't necessarily put my finger exactly on it, but I don't quite feel ready. I don't feel fully ready to like, go ham and just talk about it. But I feel the
Mm-hmm.
is building. Like I know I'm moving in that direction. Um, but again, you're still role modeling the whole time. But
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
not until you get to that third phase where you are, especially as a projector, where you're like, oh yeah, I know what I've got nailed down. Like I know the ways that I'm a role model, and then you fully embody it, which then allows people to, it's like there's more of a, I think it has to do with the awareness, the self-awareness along the journey of the sixth line of their natural role model energy. So it's like it almost
Mm-hmm.
becomes official at the end, because now you're like, I recognize myself. I can just share myself with the world confidently as a role model. And then other
Maybe I
people,
can get there sooner.
great, I can, well, that's it, where I'm just like, that's such a weird way to break it up, because as if it's truly between these ages. And again, maybe it is, and I'll finish reading his books and I'll be like, oh yeah, I get what he's saying now. But I just feel like, okay, but what about a six line who like dies when they're 32?
Yeah.
You're still a role
Yeah.
model the whole time. Like, what are you supposed to do? Just like guarantee live until you're 50, and then only when you're 50 and beyond, you're really here having like the impact that you're here to have. I don't think it's like that. I think it's just that when when you get to 50 as the delineation mark, it's just where you're like, oh yeah, I know, like or like I feel like an elder. I have this,
Mm-hmm.
I've walked this
Some
long path.
Sometimes I can get there and I can see how when I have a few more years on me, I will have that confidence because it grows each year. Like
Yeah,
my self-assuredness, my self-awareness, all of those things are growing more and more and like exponentially since my awakening 4 years ago. Like I went from absolutely no knowledge to now, and I'm like, I look back and I'm like, damn, if I could do that in 4 years, I could definitely embody being a role model before 50. Like I think I can
totally.
do it. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So I think that's like that's the journey. And then the role model, like so the 4 6 kind of combination is this really beautiful energy of like community is important, connections are important, like organic relationships are important, and you have an impact. Like for example, Ben Carroll, you remember Ben Carroll, right? So
Yeah.
he's a 4 6. So he like I don't think he's 50 yet. He's like already a role model, has been a role model all along. And he is a very like, even though he has an online presence, like and does his business online, he does it in a very four-line way, where it's like organic relationships, getting invited on podcasts of people that you've met and you have developed a relationship with. It's not like cold pitching. God, I get so many
Hmm.
cold pitches. I just despise it. Like you have literally never listened to a single episode, and but you are telling me that you think that you'd be a great fit for my show. It's crazy. Yeah. Oh, your headphones cut out again. But but anyway, like a four line, the 4 6 is like just gonna make friends, make connections, get invited onto things, be on whatever, and it's everything's gonna flow from there. And the whole time they're just giving off this like really beautiful sage energy. But it's sort of also like you could think of it in terms of a plant. Like the plant is always the plant, even before like a hibiscus is always a hibiscus, even before the first bloom or the full bloom.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the later
Mm-hmm.
stage is like the full bloom, and the middle stage is when the first blooms start to emerge. But
Yeah.
it's still a hibiscus before, like when it's first sprouting.
Yeah. And if people know what a hibiscus looks like, they would be like, damn, that's a hibiscus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that terminology. And I love hibiscus also. And I know they're beautiful, even if they're not blooming. And they come back every year. Yeah.
And they just bloom and bloom and bloom. I love them.
Yeah. They're beautiful. So funny. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think it's like at certain times, in certain circumstances, you could be showing up as fully embodied, but it's not necessarily
Yes.
all the time. Yeah.
Yes, I
So
think that's what
that's
that middle
cool.
stage is. It's just like sometimes you're fully in it, and sometimes you feel a little bit more like the unconscious, like you're unconscious of your role modelship.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
still you're still a role model the whole way along.
I definitely recognize that from she would frequently ask me how I could like just go talk to people. Like, how do you just go up and start talking to people? Like, I wish I could do that. How do you just like start cleaning? Like, you just start doing, you just get up and you're like, this is where I start. And then like you just do it. And I'm like, I don't know how to explain that. Like, I just do it. Like, I don't know how to explain. But like she brought an awareness to me that I didn't realize that she's like, how do you just know how to do these things? You know how to cook. You could like cook anything. You just make it from like the basic ingredients. And like, I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, that's okay because you didn't want to cook, obviously. Because if you wanted to, you would have learned to. You know what I mean? Like, and not everybody needs to know how to do things because, like, making mac and cheese, like, I made a roux, and she's like, "How do you even know how to do that and how to pronounce it?" I'm like, "Well, if you cook like mac and cheese or like stew or things like that, like, you need to make
Yeah.
a roux first. Like, it's just part of the process." And like, she's like, "Well, how do you know that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, I just, it's just." But like that would happen a lot, like where people would like, but it kind of was, sadly, it was like she was comparing herself. Like it wasn't really a compliment. Like it was like it made her feel like she was behind, and that's not what I would have intended. Like, but I can recognize that people see that in me, even when I'm not aware, that because of how many times she would say things like that.
Yeah, it's like they're naturally looking at you as an example, whether you are aware and like embodied in that and like flexing it or not. They're just looking at you as
Mhm.
an example. Or like, let's say in the earlier phase of your life, it could have been like, unbeknownst to you, certain other kids at school would like decide that they want to wear this kind of shirt because you were wearing it. And then might not a conversation might not have even happened, but you just like you just naturally are an example. That's how people receive you. And especially because your sixth line is in on your design side. So even in the later phase of your life, you may still be like feel somewhat unconscious of it, not as though you can't access it and embody it, but it might just not be what you're like fully the most aware of within yourself. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you just have an easier access to the awareness of the fourth line in you that collects connections without trying.
You wouldn't even know who just tried to call me. Aaron French just tried to call
Oh,
me.
really?
I'll have to call
That's
back and be like,
awesome.
sorry, I was on the phone with Amy. He'll be like, so funny. But he
That's
doesn't call
great.
all the time. So that's really funny that he just called.
Oh,
Sometimes he
bless.
calls when he's driving because he has like, he has a long drive ahead. So he likes to just like catch up on the drive or something.
What a great guy.
He's great. He's
Funny.
great. Oh my gosh. This has been so enlightening. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
There are things I didn't know, like the other channels, other gates, I guess, the gates. I don't know much about the gene keys. I only have one report, and it's like I didn't know anything about the pearls. I did know something about the culture, that thing. It's so interesting. That's so much information. You brought it together in a way that was easy to understand. Because, like you said, I've been out here, I have my charts, I have one thing over here, I'm taking notes over there. It's like so much. I'm like, what the
So many
fuck? I don't even know
papers
what this
everywhere.
is. I'm like, you could pay for like a really extensive human design chart, or you could just get your chart, like the picture, and then like you look up all those gates and stuff, which I've done. But after you do that, like, where is it? It's gone. It's like,
I know, I know. And also, like, it's hard to understand. Like, I had to spend a lot of time learning more than I did with astrology. I had to spend a lot of time learning, like, well, what does it mean to have this gate in, like, your design north node? Like,
hmm yeah,
the,
exactly. I
yeah,
have no idea about those things. No idea about astrology is so difficult to me. Human design, I understand a little bit more. Gene keys seem very accurate, connected with the numerology, all of that. Astrology is another language to me, whole other beast. So
yeah.
I appreciate like bringing it all together. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do it. I just loved looking more deeply into your blueprint.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks, Christine. I hope you have
I
an
should
awesome day.
I'll
Oh,
tell
sorry.
my sister that she needs to book with you because she's getting interested in stuff, and uh I think that would be beneficial to her. But maybe she will, maybe she won't. I'll send her a link.
Yeah, and maybe I'll meet her if she's
Yeah.
ready.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Amy.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. I hope you have a great day and say hi to Aaron for me if you talk to him.
Yes. Yes, I will. Thank you. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Before we close, I want to take a moment to thank Amy again for this reading and for her mentorship over the years, for the clarity she brings through her work. If you're curious to explore her offerings or learn more about her, you'll find all of Amy's contact information linked in the show notes. I highly recommend following the thread if you feel called. And in honor of you listening to my very first episode, I wanted to offer something back. If you feel curious about working with me and you would like a gentle introduction, I'm offering a free 30-minute space for you to speak session. You can book it through the link in the show notes if it feels right for you. In Space for You to Speak, you're invited to share your thoughts, feelings, and emotions while being held in an energetic container that's quantumly connected. Together, we may identify other timelines or past lives, sometimes the same thing, sometimes different, if you can believe that. It's a space for truth to surface without force, performance, or fixing. I also offer Akashic Records readings and past life regression therapy. Though, if I'm being honest, my newest passion right now is homeschooling my daughter and learning how to live more sustainably. Life keeps expanding me in unexpected directions, and I let that be part of my work too. One important note before we part: I don't have a conventional therapy certification. I'm not a doctor. I'm a shaman. So take what resonates, leave the rest, and trust your own knowing as you explore this path. Thank you for being here at the beginning. Thank you for listening, for witnessing, and for sharing this space with me. This is In My Experience, and I'll see you in the next episode.